Hi everybody, fall is around the corner and my family loves my perfect brisket. I got this recipe from a friend who got it from the Los Angeles Times. She tweaked it just a bit. And once I went plant-based and several of my family members too, I thought, how can we enjoy the brisket without the meat? So Garnaviti created the perfect black bean brisket. This is the perfect brisket because it's super healthy. We start with black beans, 2 cans drained and rinsed and dried. Then we're going to put this in the oven for about 10 to 12 minutes to dry it out even more. Here are some of the other ingredients that go into the brisket. We're going to dry saute some chopped onion. We're going to add some bell pepper. I'm going to turn down the heat. This is how you dry saute. You save all the calories from the oil. You don't even need the salt because the spice mixture that we're going to put in flavors it so deliciously. So I like to cover this. We're just going to let this simmer and it'll just release its juices and it'll become translucent after a couple, 2, 3, 4 minutes. Once it's pretty well cooked and softened, we add our garlic. If you add garlic too soon, it'll get bitter and it'll burn. It won't be as delicious, but look at it, it's already getting translucent. You can start to smell the garlic and all these wonderful spices that make it taste like a brisket. We have cumin, smoked paprika, chili powder, and granulated garlic. I love the granulated better than the powdered. Something about the powdered to me just tastes a little bitter, but I love the granulated. It's been about 10 minutes. And see, the black beans are nice and dry. Now we're gonna put everything in the Cuisinart. We're gonna start with the black beans, and then it's very easy just to pour right in. Voila. And then we're gonna add the delicious onion mixture with all the delicious spices. We're going to add from there some oat flour and some sweet potato. So just think about all the spices that are going in here. The flour is going to make it congeal and come together. And all we do is blend our brisket. There's our brisket. Doesn't look like a brisket, but it's going to. Spread the mixture on this parchment paper lined sheet pan. And we're going to form it the way a brisket looks with a point and everything. You want to spread it out to about a 1/2 inch thick, just like a real brisket would be. So I just put my hands a little bit so I could form it more like that brisket, how it really does look. Okay, we're gonna bake this at 350 for 10 or 15 minutes till it looks a little crispy brown on top. And for another 10 or 15 minutes, we're gonna make it crispy on the other side. And then we'll make the sauce as it's cooking. Now this sauce is the same sauce, but plant-based, that I use for the perfect brisket every fall. And what we usually use is beef stock. Well, I made a mushroom stock. And there's a recipe, a link below, how to make it. But basically you chop up like 3 pounds of mushrooms in a Cuisinart. And then you bake it for about 15 minutes till it gets really brown. And then you cover it by 2 inches with water and you bring it to a boil and simmer for like 45 minutes or to an hour. You can have a light mushroom stock or a dark. I prefer dark because it's really beefy tasting. So that's the first part of the sauce. Then we add some black currant jelly and then some tomato paste. And this is salt-free tomato paste. You can make the mushroom stock a month in advance and have it frozen. While the brisket is baking, roasting, we are gonna make the rest of the sauce. We're gonna saute a lot of onion. So the perfect brisket that I make calls for the onions to be sauteed with the sauce, and then you separate the sauce from the onions and you keep that refrigerated. So you can do this a day in advance. So then at the party, all you have to do is bake the brisket, pour the sauce over it, heat it all up, and it is good to go. What I love about plant-based cooking is that you don't use the oil. And I had super high blood pressure, and when I took out all that fat, it really lowered my blood pressure. Okay, the onions have reduced and released their juices. I'm gonna add some garlic to that. Yummy, yummy. I can never have enough garlic. I just love garlic. We're gonna let that saute for a second to get the taste and the smell and the taste of the garlic into the onions. Next, we are going to add red wine. This is 3/4 of a cup. I don't mind putting the wine in because the alcohol all burns off and then you're just left with the flavor. If you don't want to use red wine, don't worry about it. You can use apple juice. You can use my wine not Cabernet recipe, which is just wild blueberry grape juice plus some hibiscus tea and a little honey. And it kind of tastes like wine, so you could definitely do that too. Okay, I think the black beans brisket, the top half, yes, it's a little crispy, so it is time to turn it over. The way I like to do it is just put a sheet pan next to it like this. Carefully, don't touch the hot pan. Carefully move it over. Another sheet pan on top like this. Flip it. And now all you have to do is put it back into the pan. And we'll cook the other side for another 10 and 15 minutes because we want this to be crispy as well. Okay, all the wine has absorbed. See that? This is so delicious, everybody. It's really amazing. The mushroom stock mimics beef. And you know, mushrooms are so filled with antioxidants and they're just a really, really, really healthy vegetable. Look at that. And now we're gonna slice it just like a brisket. When you slice a brisket, I always do it this way, I'm right-handed. You wanna cut it on the bias. And that's what you do, and you make those thin little slices like they do with the real brisket. And by the way, when you make the real thing, the meat, it takes like 3 to 4 hours in the oven. You have to wait for so long. This you can do so much in advance, and at the last minute, cook this, slice it, pour on the sauce, and just keep it in the oven really low, like at 150 degrees until your guests arrive. So it's really a little bit easier than the actual brisket, a lot faster. Okay, so we're gonna slice it into like, quarter inch. And now we'll pour the sauce on. You may wanna make 2 of these because when I bring this black bean brisket to our family parties, the carnivores eat it too. So there's not enough for all of us plant-based people. And you can eat as much as you want because it's so healthy and delicious. Enjoy.